I'll turn on my screen share if you guys like want to see the shit I'm doing. That way,
Well, no, it's like
the
you
static
should
screen.
know a huge part of communication between left and right being properly is seeing the eyes of the person you're communicating with,
Oh,
being
is it?
able to humanize them. Yeah, straight up, man. It's a lot easier to dehumanize words or just audio. When you're looking at the face that's speaking at you, you can see the emphasis in their eyes.
Okay.
You can better understand people.
So I'm getting a little bit of like audio feedback from you, dude. Can you like turn down your settings a bit?
Yep. 1 sec.
Like I can hear myself, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that in just 1 second.
Wish you could join them. All right. Okay.
Okay, talk at me for a sec.
Okay. Talking at you.
Okay, let me see here. That feels fucking quiet in my ear. A little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm setting your volume.
ZYXWVUTSRQP ONM LKJIHGF Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk and Taylor, Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover. You got it figured out yet?
Yep.
Okay. You ready to go?
You're sounding clear to me.
All right.
Yeah, pretty well.
All right. Why don't you well, we're already live. So why don't you just introduce yourself?
Oh, okay.
Whatever. And tell whoever. Tell them whatever you want to. I don't give a shit.
My name's Cam. I'm from Canada. Metalhead. Used to be pretty hard left wing. But, you know, pretty well everybody is. You start out left when you're young. But, if I can, over the last couple years, I see a lot of things going differently. And, I hate to say it, but I've woken up to the bullshit that I used to spout. And I see a major divide happening in America. It fucking troubles the shit out of me. Because politics is not two fists fucking you from the same bird. Politics is a yin-yang. Politics is a manifestation of human methods of survival. Politics is conservative-mindedness versus liberal-mindedness, ultimately. And that comes down to how many walls do we want around our things? Liberals want to potentially risk the sacrificing of systems that we've established that keep us safe, fed, and happy in order to try and improve them. Whereas conservative-minded people want to outright preserve what we have. Neither of them are right, neither of them are wrong. Both are valid modes of being in the world. But I'm finding a lot of disagreement with what I'm seeing coming out of the left because they are dehumanizing the right.
In what way?
Really? It worries me, severely worries me, because I'm a Canadian, and neither can my country nor the world afford to let America fall apart like it is.
Right. So what kicked this off, I think, was you saying some pretty loaded things about abortion to some friends of mine.
Yes. We were speaking about the new proposed abortion bills that are happening in the States. And the hard truth is they do allow for the kind of late-term abortion that is abominable.
Abominable in what way?
Once brain activity starts, that's a life. And if people are going to be irresponsible and go and fuck, and then be irresponsible and not bother to monitor their own bodies when they goddamn well know their cycles, then why are we saying it's right for them to wave off their responsibilities to their actions and kill babies? Now, I understand when a medical necessity is required, and that is an extreme minority of the cases in which this happens. The hard truth is today, a lot of women use birth control as a form of contraceptive, and it's not.
Okay, so I mean, this was specifically about late-term abortion. Well, this
specifically about late terms, yes.
Well,
I believe full-heartedly that early term abortion is a net positive for society. Every place that has it criminalized, that ends up legalizing, experiences drops in crime and raises in standard of living 20 years later because of the effect it has to allow people to have proper moderation over what they bring into this world. However, people abuse these systems. And we have set up a method of allowing the most irresponsible, I'm going to say this outright, the most irresponsible, dirty fucking whores out there to abuse this. And they do. I care about good people who need this. But, and this is a big but, third term abortion should be fucking illegal. Period. It's baby killing. Its brain is working.
So when you say period, I don't think you understand the finer nuances of abortion, especially like late term abortion. The Virginia bill specifically doesn't firstly, the Virginia bill doesn't actually change the term limits on abortion. You could still get abortions in third trimesters, but it's only reserved for the instances in which you need to, the mother's life or health is in danger, or the fetus is non-viable. Now, I don't think that's unreasonable. Like, I don't think brain activity really matters if the fetus isn't viable.
No, if the fetus isn't viable, I'll agree. Like, if the fetus isn't going to make it, then that's fine and dandy. But the fine print of this bill does allow for pretty sketchy shit. It allows for fucking, what's a good example?
Bill did
when he was asked, the people who proposed this bill, when they were asked if it would allow for a doctor, like what would be the case of a live birth happening when fucking, you seen that interview, right?
Yeah, I saw the Northam interview. I know what you're talking about.
Tell me that doesn't make you fucking sick.
It really didn't.
We'll fucking resuscitate the baby and then let you decide whether or not we're going to kill the fucking baby. Put it up for fucking adoption.
It really, well, he's talking about non-viable babies. Like, that's why
non-viable babies aren't resuscitated. Non-viable babies are not really born alive, are they? I mean, those are the babies that
you can have a term. You can have a baby that's born alive,
stillborn, exactly,
non-viable, in the sense that it's going to die shortly after birth. Ooh, you can have,
and quite often that's been declared as the case, and the baby has survived. So, what do we say about those cases? What about premature babies? Where do we draw the line?
Well, we draw the line where the Supreme Court put the line at 25 weeks.
25 weeks? That's fucking, it feels fucking like way, way too fucking much.
Well, it's the point of
brain activity starts at 20 days. Now, here in Canada, you have up till the end of the first term. Because after that, that's not your body anymore. That is a living thing inside of your body developing. And I am power atheist. I'm not religious in any sense. And I used to straight up pro-abortion all the way because I never wanted to have kids. But, there's a lot of hypocrisy wrapped up around this debate. There's a lot of people out there saying all kinds of shit, and there's all kinds of inequality wrapped up around parenthood as it is. So it's something that I think does need a lot of conversation. And really, I do think that we need to start promoting people being responsible. And I understand that, if a baby is flat out not going to survive, then that's one thing. But this bill allows for things like, it's going to affect her mental health. Fuck her mental health. Put the baby up for adoption. What does killing babies do to a woman's mental health? It doesn't do good things.
So, I think you're getting your news from Donald Trump, to be blunt. A doctor.
I get my news all over the place, dude. I was into this debate long before Donald Trump became president, and not just on the abortion thing, on parental rights and things like that in general. As it stands right now,
I'm talking about the Virginia bill. Right. So the way you framed it, and I tried to find your tweet, I couldn't find it, but you framed it as doctors are allowed to just yank a baby out of a mother, as it's being birthed. And I understand you're getting these comments from Northam. The only time this is going to apply is if the fetus is non-viable or it's to save the life of the mother.
Hold on a sec.
That's already enshrined into Virginia law. So I don't know what you're worried about.
Is it enshrined in the Virginia law? That's the only time it's allowed, or is it stated in the law that is the purpose because it's allowed because of that purpose? Because the way we frame laws, the way we speak them out, the way they're written into law, means different things, and the fine print really does matter.
Okay, so here's the
Now,
fine print, right? So the
okay.
first thing it does is it requires it eliminates the requirement that an abortion be performed in a hospital, because you don't need abortions performed in hospitals. They're not that complicated.
Yeah, coat hanger and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a little
Or
vulgar.
some, well, it's
It
the
also
truth.
it
Or
also
some forceps.
it
Some
also
forceps will do it. Got to rip the arms off, break the head, pull it out.
sure. Okay, so it also
The gory
eliminates
details.
for ultrasounds and stuff like that, right? A grieving mother isn't going to need to see an ultrasound to know she needs an abortion. She must give written consent. That's still there. It requires that instead of 3 physicians,
Okay, so wait, hold on a second here. So only one doctor, I know, not 3 physicians, has to give her permission to not see what she's about to do. So as such, no, she isn't quite fully informed. She might have some ideas, but she isn't seeing what's in there. And for the hard truth, I mean, what you just spelled out to me, yeah, it's up to her.
Okay, so you want to make mothers who want to get abortions, you want to make them see the fetus in ultrasound before they get an abortion?
I think if a woman's going to go for an abortion, she should be in an established medical place, and she should really, probably be fully informed about everything that's going on inside of her body and what she is doing before she makes that choice. That's responsibility. That's agency.
Right. Okay. So anyway, it eliminates a requirement that you need 3 physicians to sign off on a woman's permission to get an abortion, right? In the event that it's necessary for her physical or mental health. Instead, it just uses 1 instead. Which, yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. But bills removes language classifying performance of 5 or more first trimester abortions per month. Is what?
See, I can partially agree with you on that. It's not even for me that necessarily that it's 1 doctor, because in the case of time frame, you might not have time in order to get 3, because like I said, up here in Canada, you get till the end of the first trimester. Once brain activity starts, no go. So if you're going to get an abortion, you go, you see a doctor, you get your shit done. That's fine. Brain activity starts around fucking, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the 20s for days.
Wait, okay, so after
I would have to take another look.
Can't get an abortion?
Hold on a sec. Give me 1 second here. I gotta fucking bring this back up, because it's honestly been fucking probably 3 or 4 months since I've been on the finer details of exactly that. But I can find this quick.
Well, let's just say it is at 20 days. If it is at 20 days, would you want to ban abortions at 20 days?
I do believe that when brain activity starts, that's the difference between cells starting to create a human and a human that is developing.
I guess
brain activity starts, you got a full body.
Right. I guess I'm confused because it seems to fly in the face of what you were saying earlier about how it's absolutely a benefit to society. I mean, you seem to open with that.
Because you see, here's the thing, right? It's a benefit if people are responsible, practicing proper shit. Now, it's that because it drops crime for people that aren't ready to have kids. But I mean, really, and I know this is going to sound terrible, I think the young women out there that go around and fuck around constantly and just go and get a whole bunch of abortions, I know that it sterilizes them doing that, and I'm happy for it, because those aren't people that should be breeding.
Right. So
they should be enjoying what they're doing and not pumping kids into this world, because those are the people who create the problem cases. You got to remember, 80% of people in prison grew up in a broken home.
Okay, so what you said earlier was that it helps women. I'm sorry, it helps society when women who aren't ready to be parents get an abortion. I think that's the case for every abortion, isn't it? Like, why else would you get an abortion other than medical necessity?
Irresponsibility.
No, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of irresponsibility, right? Like if you're not ready to be a parent, it seems like an abortion is the responsibility.
If you're not ready to be a parent, then you should be using contraceptive and not fucking everybody in town without a Jimmy hat on.
What if you're
Okay, hold up. You know how many forms of contraceptive women have that they can use at the same time?
What? How many?
About men? Women have the UID. They have the morning after pill. They have the chance for abortion before that's done. They have fucking, what is it? They have female condoms. They have saying, hey, guy, put on a condom. When a woman gets pregnant, it is more her fault than the guy who's fucking her, because she has to practice agency over her body. She knows she gets pregnant. It's like if a guy has sex with somebody who has an STD and they know they have a chance of getting an STD. If they don't wear a condom, do you look at them and say, you're a fucking idiot? Or do you look at them and say, oh, it's so tragic? You look at the man and you say, why did you make that choice? You were being irresponsible. Now you have this to deal with.
Why is getting an abortion not exercising agency over your body?
It's,
like, why is that not agency?
Okay. Getting an abortion is as much practicing agency over your body as long as it is your body and not a brain that's functioning independently of your body gestated in there. Now, the reason I say it's this is because people who are responsible breeders, we'll call them, they use contraceptive. They have plans. They have talked about parenthood. They make plans for these things. And they know they're not ready to have kids, so they protect themselves. Now, people who are knowing they're not ready to have kids, but still out taking that risk, calculate that. That's a risk that she took. More her responsibility than his, because she has to practice agency over her body. So if she gets pregnant, right, that's really, like, we'll say it's probably 30% him, the rest her, as far as fault. Because yeah, he can wear a condom. She has the morning after pill. She has contraceptive forms, many kinds. Why? Where is her agency? Why is she allowed to be so irresponsible? Why do we baby that in our society and make taxpayers pay for the expensive abortions that she has to go take?
Well, they don't pay for expensive abortions in the United States. I don't know about Canada, but in the United States, they don't.
The service itself costs money. And if she isn't paying it, who is?
Fuck if I know.
Yeah, the people. Taxation. It costs money. It's not
no,
a free
I'm telling you, by law, abortions are not publicly funded in the United States. By law.
There's the last time, here's an interesting thing. One of the last ones I heard, one of the last mislabelings of the truth that I've seen from the left when it comes to this argument was that Donald Trump was trying to remove abortion from women when he was saying employers should not be required to pay for the abortions of employees. Was it forced covered under any of the work coverage or anything like that?
I think abortion is, but that's
I don't know all the details on that myself because I'm Canadian as well. I'm not in America.
I think if you don't know the details, you shouldn't speculate on it being a false statement. I could tell you with full certainty, it's called the Hyde Amendment, that abortions are not funded by taxpayers in the United States.
Okay, well, I see this as one of those things where, because I've seen the argument being made that these women shouldn't have to pay for those abortions. Fuck that. Yes, they should. They should have to pay every dime for those abortions. It was their irresponsible choices that got them there.
Would you say you're a fiscal conservative?
I would say I lean into conservatism as far as my financial ideals go.
Which would you rather pay for? A $500 abortion or $20,000 worth of child support and welfare for somebody who is born into poverty that nobody wanted?
Okay, see here, hold on one second with that. Here's an interesting thing, a little interesting dichotomy, and something that ties into this that I feel should be addressed. I think that I, as a man, should be able to go and make a legal declaration with the government in much the same way that I would make a declaration of being an organ donor, a not willing to be a father card, status, legal, so that when I have sex with a woman, I can say to her, just so you know, if you get knocked up, that shit's on you.
Okay, what does that have to do with my question?
She gets, well, it's one of these rights responsibilities dichotomies, you see?
Right. Okay.
Again, we allow her choice.
Conservative.
Because as fiscal conservative, this is why it bothers me, the framing of that. She gets pregnant. She has the choice to keep or abort it. All the choice is hers. The responsibility for that choice pinned on him. Child support.
Right. So my issue
all those things.
Well, hang on. The issue is,
I think honestly, we should be holding proper people accountable. I don't think people should be
I agree. People should be held accountable. My issue is that if you take away a woman's right to abortion and they end up giving an abortion that they don't want, or I'm sorry, they end up having a baby that they don't want, they can't take care of, they can't responsibly deal with, the cost of that child gets passed on to the taxpayer, and it becomes all of our collective responsibility, right? Because you're not going to let it
even starve. About removing abortion. For me, it's about finally making them responsible.
What does that mean? What does that mean? them responsible.
I want a society that holds women to be just as accountable as it holds men.
Okay, what does
And
that
we don't
mean?
have that.
What does that mean? Hold them accountable. Like, what do you want to?
Okay, agency. I will give you a perfect flat out example. I just gave it to you before. What is the cost of choice?
What?
Responsibility to your choice, right? If you make a choice and you're allotted the right to that choice should be your responsibility. Am I right?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Your choice is your responsibility, but I'm not understanding
what
you mean by
because this is what this ties into that. Sex is not consent to be a parent. Okay. We hold men accountable for sex. You were just saying we don't hold women accountable for sex in the same fashion, because we say to them, you can abort, you can do all these things, you can have a choice. If he wants to have that child and you don't, it's all good for you to kill his baby. If he doesn't want you to have that child, he's not ready to be a parent, but you do, we'll just make him financially upholding to you.
Let me put this bluntly. When you say you want to hold, hang on, you've got to stop. This is a conversation.
Okay.
You got to let me speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you say you want a society that holds women accountable, do you mean you want a society that forces women to give birth if they get pregnant unintentionally?
No, not even.
Okay,
I understand the detriment that does to society. I just want a society that finally starts promoting the notion that women should be responsible for the choices they make.
Sure. How do we promote the notion that women should be responsible for the choices that they make?
Oh, for one is by celebrating the outright fact that the wage gap exists because women choose it. And by pointing out to people, the only way to change that is to remove choice from individuals and to force people into jobs they don't want to be in there, or by artificially setting the value of works. Neither of those things is good for us.
Okay, I'm not so clear how you got onto the wage gap argument. We're talking about abortion. How does a society hold women responsible for getting pregnant? That's what I'm asking you. Specifically,
how does a society hold women by making them financially uphold it to the child? By well, here's an interesting example. Right now in the United States, the welfare system does not allow for you to collect welfare if you're in a family unit. So a woman who is pregnant and is with some fucking loser fucking thug who's never going to fucking be a good father is financially motivated by the government to be a single mom. Single moms create 80% of the prison population. Most of the abuse cases that you come across in men, most of the psychotic fuckers, came from a single mom home. We never talk about this in our society. We never hold them accountable to that fact. Most women don't even know this. I've had to tell women this and they've Googled it and come back to me and been like, my God, I'm sorry. There's all these stats that I had no idea about. Single mothers are a fucking terrible thing. You know, most of them choose to be it. You know, like most divorce is mother initiated. And the most common excuse given is, I'm just not happy. So I think he should be paying my child support. I think he should be a wage slave to me, and I should be able to be a shitty mom.
If I can rephrase this in your words, what you're saying is you want women to be financially accountable for being pregnant, but for unintended pregnancies, in that they will be forced to give birth and fund their child. Is that correct?
I think it would be a hell of a motivation for them to finally start being responsible. If only a man who said, I'm willing to be a parent was legally, financially upholdable to that child, if she couldn't force a man to pay her way through fucking him, stabbing a hole in the condom. We all know abuse happens. Here's the hard thing. Any fucking flaw in our system is going to be abused. And it does. That's a loophole, like it or not, that gets abused. Man, I fucking know people who suffer it. There's fucking all kinds of motivation for women to break the family unit up. Financial motivation put there by the government in the system. It's wrong.
Okay, so you're basically advocating that we take away any kind of a welfare system for single mothers, right?
Not even. I'd say just fucking give them the absolute base coverage and fucking set up something so that they have absolutely nothing, no way of spending any of the government allocation that's designed for that kid on anything but that kid.
I think they do, but I mean that's I like, what would you change?
Pretty loose. Like
the government doesn't just,
the last time they were talking about
kids.
No, the ex-husband does. He's forced to.
Oh, okay. Wait,
Yes.
wouldn't abortion be a way
Even
to,
if he didn't want to have the kid, yeah, it would be, sure. But like, what about the cases where the man wants to have the child? You know, like I said, when it comes down to choice, this is what I'm talking about with accountability.
wait,
Women
do
have
you,
all the choice, but we put the responsibility on
would,
him. He
would you
has
like,
no say.
listen, man, you've gotta stop. You've got to let me talk. Okay. I appreciate you coming on, but you gotta
Sorry.
let me talk as well. So when you say like you want the husband to have a choice, do you mean you want the husband to be able to interfere with a woman's ability to get an abortion?
No, I want him to be able to opt out legally and have the legal declaration of I'm not willing to be a parent if he chooses to, so that he cannot be abused by that system.
Oh, okay.
You give men choice and you return balance to this. Right now, women have more rights than men as they have the legal right to paternal choice. Men don't.
Well, I'm just curious. Well, we're talking about abortion. I kind of get the idea you want to take away that right to paternal choice that women have.
Well, no, I want men to have paternal choice. That's a straw man argument. I've said nothing about taking
sure.
away their right to an abortion. I've simply stated that it's unethical.
Well, the
it's
issue
wrong,
is not arguing
and
abortion.
that we need to promote against that idea.
So would you be fine with having abortion so long as men had a choice to opt out of being a parent?
I think it would be a worthwhile trade-off, although I don't think it would be beneficial to our culture.
Well,
I do honestly think that we need more people breeding in the Western nation.
Why do we need more people breeding in the West?
Because we don't maintain an average enough to keep our culture alive.
What is our
culture is important.
What does that mean?
Culture is an obvious understanding. For me, I'll try to break this down the best I can. A lot of people try to confuse geographical location or the name of a race with a culture. It's not. I live in Canada. The culture of my country is that of a melting pot, but it's not the melting pot of the world that everyone wants to make it. It's a melting pot that has a lineage of Germanic people, British people, French people, and Native people, and a very unique history of interactions between those peoples. Why we have the specific fucking dialect, why we have our own slang, our own accents, our own weird little foods, our own customs.
Yeah, I understand that. How does abortion tie into that? Like, I'm not so sure I understand.
Well, you got to follow me on that. I said, I think that it would be beneficial to individuals' rights for that, as you stated, to be the case. But I don't think that it would be beneficial to our culture.
Earlier, what you said was you want more people to have children because it's beneficial to the culture. I'm struggling to understand, how is more people having children beneficial to the culture?
Because we're fucking shrinking in numbers here. The only way we have, yes, we are not. Everybody, pretty well every Western nation out there does not produce 2.5 children per couple. That's what's required in order to keep up a culture, to keep up a country. And if you don't keep that up, you have to import people or you experience economic troubles because you don't have a proper cycling of workers, maintaining the infrastructure for the elderly, and so on and so forth. So if you don't produce enough people within your culture, within your people, you got to import. And the more you import, the more you cut back on what your culture was. The more you start to feel like you're not in your own country anymore. Right? The uniqueness of all of these countries in the world, I'm sorry to rant, but this is one thing that's really close to my heart. If I go to Sweden, I don't want to go to Sweden to fucking see India. If I go to Germany,
why?
I don't go to Germany to see fucking the Ukraine. I go to the Ukraine to see the Ukraine, right? And all of these nations out there are saying, we don't have a culture. Fucking bullshit. I live in Canada, halfway across the world. And when I think Swedish, all kinds of things jump in here. All kinds of images of culture. Beautiful culture. Long, rich history. History that predates anything my country has, and my country has a culture. Like shit, people should value this, man.
Why? Why should people value that?
Because it's created the highest standard of living anybody's known in the world. It's created the most freedom and equality. It's created the ability for us to do this now, trying to bridge a gap.
I feel pretty comfortable arguing multiculturalism has created the highest standard of living in the world.
Multiculturalism is a false understood construct in that sense. Multiculturalism has done that only in the sense that we've been able to communicate and maintain ties between cultures.
Yeah. So
if you water down an entire place, You destroy that culture. It's gone.
Okay.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Cool.
Do you want to live in a world of clones?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't.
So let's get this back to abortion. Aaron Johnson's asking.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry about the rant.
This is an abortion discussion. At least that was my understanding. You made the claim. I don't think that claim's accurate. That claim only applies to like non-viable fetuses, but that's all well and good. But let's live in a hypothetical world where you're dictator of the world, right? You're dictator of the world and you can pass whatever law you want. Would you outlaw abortion?
No.
No? Okay.
No. Like I said, man, abortion is a net positive to societies. Drops crime.
You didn't
increase
getting an abortion after like whenever brainwave activity was detected, which was absurdly low. Like you're ping-ponging past different positions.
Oh, I understand the complexities of it. Like I said, I used to be full instance, like, yeah, abortion all the way at any point in time. But like I said, I've gone down a rabbit hole lately and fucking a lot in the last couple of years of my life. And to be quite honest, I understand the other side where they're coming from more.
I'm having trouble understanding you. Which is it? Is it abortion any way, any time, or is it no abortion when you get brain activity?
I don't believe it should happen after brain activity. I used to be okay with the idea of it anytime. Like I said, I started to humanize the people that I was talking to, and I came to some understanding.
I'm asking, should it be illegal? That's what I'm asking. Should it be illegal to have an abortion if a fetus has? Could you answer it again with just a straight yes or no? Because you go in a lot of different directions. It's a little hard to follow.
Okay, well, it's partially because of the nuance of this whole thing. We are dealing with life, after all. I don't find it ethical, but I still think it should be legally obtainable.
Okay, so
but I don't think it should be something. I'm halfway pro-choice because I'm pro-agency and pro-responsibility, and I think people should honestly, for the most part, take accountability for their actions. And like I think people that aren't ready to be parents should probably not be fucking without condoms. Should maybe be on the UIDs.
I also
maybe have a morning after pill.
Yeah, so I also happen to think that people who aren't ready to be parents should also get an abortion if they're not ready to be a parent and they get pregnant. Like I think that's the best thing for everybody.
Hold up. That's a very quick jump there for you. What about practicing responsibility before they get pregnant?
Okay, well we're past that point.
Why do we jump over that point of them being irresponsible as fuck and wait till it's a problem for everybody else in the world to deal with?
Well,
I want us to promote agency.
Cool. I'm promoting agency. They got pregnant. We're at that point now, right? I would love to live in a world where everybody practiced personal responsibility every step of the way and could be the best beacon of rationality, right? I would absolutely love that. But we live in a real world where people are going to fuck without condoms or without birth control, or they're going to screw up and not going to realize they're pregnant. You got to let me finish, dude. All right, I just let you go on. Let me finish, please. Right, we're going to live in that world, and a sad reality of that world is some people are going to get pregnant, whether they, if they don't intend to. There's also going to be some people who intend to get pregnant, but complications arise in their personal lives such that they're not ready to be a parent. This includes medical complications on the part of the mother or medical complications on the part of the fetus. Right, these circumstances can arise, and I absolutely support people having every option available and in front of them to ameliorate any problems they could have. I guess I just don't understand what the issue is. Like, I think you agree with me, but I think you're just having a really hard time getting there, like understanding that you do.
It's like this. I agree with all those statements there you just made. I'm going to add to it. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't glorify being whores?
Who's glorifying being a whore?
You watch TV, man. You watch pop media. Watch a rap video.
What? Okay.
Watch any television on channel. Watch it for 2 hours. Tell me how much sex you see peddled.
I see tons of sex peddled. Why is that bad?
Yes. And how often do you see the classic family unit properly promoting agency and responsibility without fucking it being like? I'm not talking about like fucking moral lessons from South Park either. I'm talking fucking Brady Bunch. Like, how often do you see proper moral representations in the world?
Proper moral representations of the world? I don't know.
I
don't know how entertaining that would be for television. Like, I mean, they kind of want to make entertainment media, right? Culture tends to reflect that, I guess.
I don't know. Like,
I struggle with this idea that if only television would show us proper traditional tradcon women, that there'd be no need for abortions anymore.
It's not just the media, dude.
Well,
Fuck
what else is it that's glorifying sex?
Parents are fucking shit these days. 90% of them put their kids in front of a TV, don't pay attention. Too many people are too busy, right? There's all kinds of problems in the world. 99% of them come down to us fucking up.
Right.
So why do we pass that shit off onto society? Why don't we like fucking actually properly promote the notion that's in culture, in fucking society, in conversation with people?
How about we promote it in school where you get a sex education class where you're taught how your body functions properly and taught about contraceptives? Why? How about
you're taught about anal sex at 9-10 years old now?
Okay, so you don't want personal, like, what? I don't know what you want. Like, if you, all these problems you're describing can be fixed by a sex education class.
Proper sex education class.
What is it? What is an improper?
Here's another hard truth. We have what is it? Fucking drag queens reading to kids and fucking, and not that I think there's anything wrong with drag queens, but we are fucking kids' heads up with the shit that we are trying to teach them. How
do drag queens fuck kids' heads up?
It's not just the drag queens fuck kids' heads up. You know, a kid can encounter a drag queen and not be fucked up. But if the kids' educators are bringing the drag queen in to read stories, and then the drag queen is sitting down with all the kids and saying, you know, you can just choose to be whatever you want, and this, that, and the other thing. Here's a couple hard truths, right? Gender is not a social construct.
Oh,
right?
Not...
If it was,
wait, why is it bad that people can just choose whatever they want?
You know why transgender people have such a high suicide rate?
Because of people like you?
No, not at all. I've got a lot of trans friends, actually, despite what you might think. The largest circle of my old friend circle was fucking predominantly fucking lesbians and trans people.
So tell me, why do trans people have such high suicide rates? Tell me.
Because there are actual biological things that are different in their body and their biochemistry.
So wouldn't that suggest
just in the same way as
spectrum?
No, it doesn't, because there's only two sexes, and even if you want to identify somewhere in between, you're identifying on a scale that's binary. It's made of two, male and female.
Except if you can point out, right, like gender non-binary people exist.
They don't exist. No, they don't.
There's no such thing as gender non-binary.
If you can point out the third genitals or the humans born completely without genitals, then I will believe there are non-binary humans. But even every person out there that's born hermaphroditic has either part or both of one or both.
Oh, okay.
This is just the hard truth, man. Even when you get to alternative chromosomal distributions, they lead to things like augmentations in bone density in a lot of people. They lead to a lot of different other neurological conditions. These people aren't normal people. They suffer from conditions. And they're just as human as me and you. But when we say things like, we shouldn't say that this is any kind of an issue, we detract from the people who talk about it, who are actually working on fixing it.
Wait,
there are people on both ends of this.
How do you fix transgenderness?
Well, with some of them, it's transition. And with some of them, it's counseling. With some of them, it's hormone therapy. It all depends on the individual, because they're all different causes. There's more than one kind of trans.
I guess I'm just not sure why this is an issue. Why do you care?
I care because I see it really fucking the world up.
How are
here's an interesting example. No, not transgender people. They're activists.
Okay, how are transgender activists fucking the world up?
Okay, I see transgender activists in the States running around saying we need to remove their gender dysmorphia from the medical illness books. Do you agree with that?
Sure, why not?
You just removed the medical aid that we give every single fucking trans person in my country. Okay. We don't give cosmetic surgery to normal, healthy people. We don't give counseling to normal, healthy people. Reality means something. And when we deny reality, we harm the people we're trying to help. It's very important to me.
Wait,
by removing their aid, by not understanding their condition, by spreading lies about what their condition are, and by allowing people to mimic that condition, thinking that they can just choose it and acting like it's
Wait.
not completely fucking
You're-
offensive
okay.
to the actual people who suffer it.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
again, I'm not
It's an
understanding
impassioned
this.
thing for me.
If people can choose it, right? That was the argument. People can choose it, and you're saying it's harmful. How is it harmful if people can
No,
choose what their gender?
people can't choose what their gender is.
They can't?
No, people are what they are. We
Transgender
are our
people
bodies,
choose it?
right?
Wait.
You have a subjective experience of gender.
Oh,
That
okay.
isn't your gender. You have a gender identity, how you feel, right? And then you have what you are, your gender. Your gender
Okay.
is very closely aligned to your sex, but it has to do with your behaviors, and they are not socially constructed. This is why rhesus monkeys, boys play with trucks, girls play with dolls. You give them toys, they'll show you the same gender characteristics we have. It's cross species because it's not a social construct. Now, the people that are running around right now saying I can choose to be this, do you have any idea how offensive they are to people who suffer this?
I don't know
Like,
how
these people are fucking ridiculously offensive. Like the
Okay.
person who makes a false rape claim to an actual rape victim.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, these people are born with things like, there's a difference between a male and a female brain, that men and women wire differently hemispherically. We have different cranial measurements. We have difference in gray versus white matter. And there are individuals, so you look at most trans people, there's a high percentage of them, you'll fucking do brain scans on them, and they have the brain of the gender that they exhibit inside of a body that does not match. And it's because of a chromosomal imbalance or something along the way that happened in their development that put them into a very, very critically weird position to be in.
Okay.
It's really dehumanizing to them for somebody to come along and say, I can choose to be like you and it's okay. That's fucking radically fucking shitty.
I'm a libertarian. I don't see the problem of people choosing whatever they want to be. And you seem to suggest it destroyed culture. I don't see that it's destroying culture. If anything, I see it making us culture, like us, freer from culture. It's a good thing, right? Choices are a good thing.
I agree that choice is a good thing. Can you choose to be black?
Well, I mean, why not? Well, let's go to the Rachel Dolezal route. How is it any different from gender?
Because you're not, and because there are ways that can be measured. Because black people have different bone measurements, they have different measurements of melanin in their skin, and they have no traces of Neanderthal markers in them. You are not black, and you can never claim to be. Well, that's Rachel just reality.
Did okay, so
but she isn't. But she isn't. Right?
Hang on, dude. Stop. Okay, my turn. Stop. All right, let's break this down, because this comes down to identity, right? It's a cultural identity, much like gender identity is a cultural identity. You can absorb this on yourself and identify in a certain way, right? So you can be white and culturally identify as black, right?
That I'll agree with. Yeah.
Okay.
You can identify with the culture.
You could make an argument that Eminem kind of does it.
Yeah, but you can't be black.
Okay.
You can only identify with parts of their culture because you are not. You have a body. We can measure it, and we can look at the objective truth of it and say, no, this person has no direct tied lineage in the last 100,000 years with Africa.
Is that really what it means to be black to you?
Being, oh Jesus, we were like, that's pretty radical, dude. You know how the migration route came out of Africa? How white people and Asians came to be in this world?
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand then that the blacks they interbred with Neanderthals, they interbred with other hominids, and that other races came about through this.
What I'm asking is, why can't somebody culturally identify that as black, and why can't we all accept their cultural identity?
Oh, you can identify with a culture.
Let me ask you.
But it doesn't make you that thing.
Let's break this whole thing down.
I will never be Asian.
Listen, do you know who Rachel Dolezal is? Just quick yes or
no. She's wrong.
Okay, if you came across Rachel Dolezal on the street without ever having known her, would you assume she was a black woman or a white woman?
I honestly wouldn't assume about her race.
Really? You wouldn't assume about her race? Okay.
I'm multi-ethnic myself. I would look at her and I would assume that she is as well. If race came up in a conversation, I would say, where do your bloodlines stem from? That would be my assumption.
I mean,
that or she's got a great tanning salon.
Well,
I mean,
she
me,
does. I mean, she more or less
I'm-
fooled the NAACP into thinking she was black. So I guess I'm confounded by this because this seems to suggest that we encompass race in more than biological languages. We have a cultural aspect to it that some people can identify with. And if transgenderism is a valid cultural identity, I don't understand why transracialism couldn't be as well. And I don't think
okay, because it's like
justifying this
culture
argument that it's denying reality or that it's something harmful about it. If you want to identify as black, identify as black. What do I care?
Culture is what you do. Race, what you are. Sex is what you are. And
Okay.
your subjective interpretation of reality, not the same as objective reality in most cases.
Okay.
Everybody has their own personal little lenses and filters. And she's an example of one of those people that is just obviously ingrained in an area where somehow this is seen to be valid. The math on it does not work for me because I look at the objective reality of it.
Nothing. I'm answering chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Aaron Johnson.
No, I see in the chat there, Aaron Johnson. Gender and sex, they are the same thing. Gender identity is what you're thinking of. Your subjective interpretation of your gender.
Anyway, dude, you got anything else you want to talk about?
I'm down to talk about anything, dude.
Well,
I'm all about the discourse.
You seem very on Twitter, like you were.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Stuff. Let me just highlight my views. Center right, anti-feminist. I believe Trump's doing good things for America. I do believe that they should have that wall built.
Okay, let's start there. Why do you believe Trump's doing good things for America?
Well, because right now they're spending $113 billion on illegal immigration. Right now they are at their lowest levels of unemployment in a long recorded history. Hell, even handicapped people have more jobs in America today than ever before.
Okay, what's Trump doing to cause any of that?
He's maintaining a great government. He is
the government just got out of a shutdown, dude. He's not maintaining a great government. So what else?
That happened primarily because the Democrats are stonewalling him on a promise that he made to the people, something most people in America have voted for and want, and something that anybody who understands the mathematics behind it would scoff at the idea that it's not being done. America spends $113 billion a year on illegal immigration program.
One point at a time. Firstly, I don't think Democrats are stonewalling him. Democrats and Republicans worked out a deal together that Trump rejected. So it seems like that's on Trump that government wasn't functioning for that month that it was shut down. Two,
the last vote about bringing the government back in was voted against by Democrats, specifically Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay, and? The reason the government was shut down in the first place was because Donald Trump rejected a bipartisan deal to keep government open.
Because they were stonewalling him on building the wall. Something most Americans want.
Listen.
The reason he got
Republicans and Democrats both agreed on a deal. Trump rejected it. So it's not just Democrats stonewalling him on a wall. Right.
It's the both, but that's also why most recently the Republicans have voted to unanimously vote alongside Donald Trump for the rest of his terms, because even they are now understanding that they were stupid to do that.
Okay, so
the mathematics play out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why is it valid for Donald Trump to shut down the government because he promised people a wall, but Democrats not to shut down government when they promised people there would be no wall? Like, Democrats were elected with a mandate too. It was don't build a wall. So why is one valid and the other not?
Because one presidency of the United States with executive order power, and the majority of Americans are in favor of that wall.
Well, no, the majority of Americans are not in favor. Firstly, there's poll after poll that shows that majority of Americans are not in favor of that wall. But number two, the majority of Americans voted for Democrats last election. So
the popular vote.
No, not the presidential election.
Vote.
The House election, the legislature, the people who would be responsible for building that wall. Most people voted for Democrats. So it seems like the people had a mandate not to build that wall.
Yeah, there was a lot more going on during that last House election than you might want to admit there. For example, every single Democrat that was voting for fucking not confirming Kavanaugh for his spot and doing that witch hunt was removed by the Democrats voting and had shifts to that kind of thing. So there was a lot more going on with those votes than just them worrying about that.
Right. So what does that have to do with the fact that the Democrats were elected into the House? The majority party in the House is Democrats. What does it have to do with that?
It's not that it has a whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah, they got their spot, and really,
So
it's
if
not
we're
as big of
arguing
a fucking victory as they
if
were
we're
fucking pumping it as up to be. But
okay, well, if we're
carry on.
arguing this on the basis of democracy, I have to ask why why is it like, well, let me ask it like this. If the majority of people don't support a wall, should we build a wall?
My honest view, understanding the math, is that they should have a wall. That being said, if the people want to be stupid and keep on burning $113 billion a year and destroying the lowest earners in their own nation, who am I to stop them from burning their own country down?
Okay, so just to be clear, the answer is no. If the majority of people don't want a wall, they shouldn't build a wall. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think they should be properly educated, aren't they? And there's
What do you mean
not
by
exactly a lot of that
educated?
going on.
How are they uneducated?
Most people don't know the math behind the numbers. Number one, most people are throwing around misleading math. Number two, I can tell you exactly the fucking shit too. And saying things like, oh, you know, the border doesn't catch all the illegal immigrants. Why should we build a wall and invest all this when only what, 48% come through the borders? So yeah, let's not deal with 48% of the problem.
Well, the issue is that
Yeah,
immigration. Well, the issue is immigration from Mexico has been declining for several years now. Like before,
yeah, but it's still
Donald
at
Trump
a level.
well, no, we're not. Donald Trump, even before Donald Trump became president, immigration from Mexico was a net negative.
Net negative. Define what you mean.
By net negative, I mean there were more Hispanics going out than coming in from the border in Mexico. Or I should rephrase that. There were more Mexicans coming out than coming in.
Okay, so here's an interesting question. When drug traffickers with fentanyl bring it into the States, do you think they stay or do you think they go back to Mexico with the money they get?
I don't know, but the issue with fentanyl isn't the border, right? Because they're not
border security.
Well, no, hang on. It's not. Yeah, it's border security, but you're misleading people. They don't just sneak it over the border. They go through authorized border checkpoints and they smuggle it in through trucks or something, right? The majority of
the I've watched videos made by fucking documentarians showing the very footsteps in the dust from people who had been there not 2 days before, going across the American border, crossing the water in the fucking river, going around gates and fences. Okay, they're all over the place, and the most of it is actually foot traffic because
how do you
they do it with duffel bags. And I've seen the videotapes of drug traffickers. Actually, I've fucking seen the interview with the guy who fucking actually had like 17 of them in his fucking yard.
I've seen videotapes too, and it's from drug traffickers saying they're coming in through the ports of entry.
Okay. Are you going to trust drug traffickers saying, here's where we are? Or are you going to trust the guy who's like, here's the security footage from my yard with 17 drug traffickers with big bags on their back?
Okay, I don't trust anybody's anecdote. I was doing that to demonstrate how stupid that point was, but I don't think you picked it up, so that's fine. What I'm going to trust...
Well, no, it's a two-way thing, though, honestly. Like, are you going to trust a drug dealer when he knows they're looking for you and where he's going to stay?
Any more so than I trust the guy with the camera in the backyard. I wouldn't trust either of them. I would trust fact checkers.
I trust the footage.
Okay, cool. I would trust fact checkers. The facts are the majority of opioids and all kinds of other things that are connected to the opioids are coming through the points of entry. This is PolitiFact.
I would half trust fact checkers, and I would honestly fact check the fact checkers just to be safe personally, because I've seen a lot of really interesting cases of them saying, for example, Trump gave a speech once that was very, very much goddamn near paraphrasing Bernie Sanders. Both speeches were checked by PolitiFact, and for Bernie Sanders, it was mostly true, and for Donald Trump, it was mostly false, because yes, fact checkers are partisan.
Well, I don't think they're partisan. Not unbiased. Lies a lot. Why would your conclusion be that they're partisan instead of Donald Trump's lying a lot?
Well, because I've seen the examples of it.
What example?
And, I'm smart enough to know that
true that Donald Trump said that fact checker said he lied about.
Okay, here's an example, and it's not that they were lying. It's that they were misrepresenting actual examples of speech. They were disingenuous as fuck. They called it mostly truth or mostly false when Donald Trump said 1 in 3 are 1 in 3 women in that migrant caravan are fucking raped on their way up here by fucking people that are fucking violent, bad people in those migrant caravans. The actual hard data shows it to be 31%. So Donald Trump lied. Fact check. Donald Trump's false. Why do we hate Donald Trump more than we care about those women?
I don't know, but hang on, please.
That's the question I ask when I read that fact checker. Like I said, some of them do all right. Some of them proper with their shit. But there's bias in reporting, man. And there's bias in fact checkers. And straight up, you got to fact check your fact checkers too.
Hang on.
Can't just go to a fact checker. $8DX is mostly right. The U.S. should legalize drugs, sort the problem out real quick.
Wait, what? Repeat that?
8DX. 8DX. He seems on point with that comment there. He said the U.S. should legalize drugs, sort the problem out real quick. Drug addiction's a medical problem, not a legal problem.
Sure.
Junkies being violent fucks is a criminal problem. Those are the only ones that should be in prison. Aaron Johnson, you have a bias against a man that is shown to lie over and over again. Bury your biases, man. Look online for a video called The Untruth About Donald Trump, and you'll watch of Donald Trump's actual speaking in context, followed by what the media said about what Donald Trump said. So take one piece of advice from me. Don't trust anything you hear people say about Donald Trump, not even me. Go and look at the context of what he said. Get actually up on that and then make your decision about the man.
Right. So I don't know. Like everything I've observed from Donald Trump's revealed him to be a complete idiot who is ineffective in everything he's done. Like I don't know what policies you're seeing that's been effective. You're just like what you did earlier was just list some random facts and said this is Donald Trump's responsible for it by saying he kept a strong government. He hasn't.
Yeah, Donald Trump's done a lot of negotiation for America since he's been in fucking power. He's negotiated new deals with Mexico. He's brought peace between North and South Korea. You know how much
he's also imposed,
rare earth elements.
He's also imposed tariffs on China that have resulted in some $80 billion in tariffs imposed on us, which hurt our agricultural sector such that they had to receive welfare to help them out from it. Like,
yeah, but China is working on being a hegemony right now. So understand, America and China are friendly fighting right now. And that's just going to be the case because they're fighting for being a world power.
While they're friendly fighting, farmers are going on welfare to support themselves because of it.
It's tragic. But do you want the American petrodollar, the capital resource of the world, to collapse and for all of America to suffer? It sucks, I know. But like I said, they're fighting over being a global hegemony right now.
Get to this. Okay, the dollar is not in danger of collapsing because we buy steel from China. I don't know where.
No. Hold on. Right now, the American dollar is the powerhouse that it is because it's the capital used international money for oil sales and such. China and America are in a hegemonic war. If the other nations start dealing in yuan or yuan or whatever the fuck China uses or cryptocurrency, just not using the American dollar, yeah, man, that's fucking economic depression for America.
Why would they not use the American dollar?
Why would they? I mean, the only reason they do now is because of contracts. Is it? It's fiat, dude.
Every currency is a fiat.
Yes, and do you know what creates its value? The GDP of the nation.
Okay.
The gross domestic product put out to other nations. And America's infrastructure has been suffering. Fucking died. Detroit died. A lot of America's exports to the world have been dying.
Sure.
The only thing keeping the American dollar floating is the fact that it's the petrol dollar.
Okay.
It's a fiat currency.
Okay. This is far away into the side of the sanctions. The tariffs. That's what I was talking about. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Also, I seen Aaron Johnson there. My name's Cameron. I'm the guest. With no G is my YouTube channel. Although I don't have exactly many debates. I've just got my good buddy here. Wave, Shannon. playing his guitar for the people downtown and a couple strolls with my 360 camera.
I got a phone.
But I am really thinking about getting more into debate.
I forgot what we were talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand the connection you're... Okay, let's back here. I was telling you that Donald Trump's tariffs on China were stupid because China retaliated with their own tariffs that wound up putting farmers out of business, such that they had to get on welfare. Now, I don't know where you got the petrodollar thing from that. It's not related, right? You're tangentially connecting something that doesn't make sense.
So, like, I'm talking about, like, Trump may have made an error in that. But the bottom line with that is that America and China, they're fucking headbutting right now. So
we don't have to
expect bad shit.
Okay, Trump's made lots of errors is my issue. He makes lots of errors and he doesn't make a lot of accomplishments, right?
I think he's made more accomplishments than not.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. We've had 3 government shutdowns during Trump's administration in just 2 years. That's a pretty big fucking error. We lost $11 billion in the last shutdown. We ain't getting most of that back. Can you say your YouTube channel again? Cut it out, dude. Can you type in chat? You've also had a mention. You can just post your channel. Like, there's a lot of shit. Trump paneled a voter fraud commission. Went fucking nowhere. Giant waste of money. Okay.
What do you expect though? The guy's been nothing but attacked, halted, and demonized by the fucking left establishment and the Democrat Party the entire time he's been in. You know, he's the single most vetted president in American history. Well, no, he was spied on by the fucking bullshit. No, hold on.
You stop.
He was spied on by Barack Obama before he was president. After he became president, he's been.
Okay, stop. I muted you. Stop. Right. Hang on. Okay. Oh shit, you gotta unmute yourself. All right, can you do that? Can you unmute yourself, dude? My dude, unmute yourself. Because apparently I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Fuck me. Look, go to Hangouts, click the arrow on your name, just hit mute. Or there's a thing at the top, right? Mute microphone. Unmute it.
Oh, there we go.
Shit. Okay.
I was on the chat window. I got gapped out on that.
Stop. Okay. The president would not release his tax returns. So let's not go with he was the most vetted president in the history of presidents.
Yeah.
He's not.
Do you know why?
Just off that, he was not. What?
Do you know why he wouldn't?
Why would
because Donald Trump is full or owner in over 500 business ventures. You think the common idiot is going to understand those tax returns?
So?
No.
What the fuck?
He is a businessman. Yeah, he's got a lot of loopholes. People are going to look at that and be like, oh, but you know what? He's a smart businessman. So that was smart. That was the absolute right thing to do.
Okay, so the people should not have done that. Has taken advantage of a lot of loopholes that would have hurt his prospects into being president that the average person might not have understood, but might not have appreciated all the same, right? So he's not been
who created those loopholes.
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is Donald Trump hasn't released his loophole. I'm sorry, his tax returns, right? This is common procedure, right?
I thought they came out afterwards.
No, he's never released his tax returns, dude.
Let me take a look up for that quick.
Are you a Nazi, dude?
Nope. You see, this is another thing that a lot of people don't get.
Is that you have
take note of that.
Okay.
You know what that is?
It looks like the OK symbol on a Nazi battle flag.
Yes. Do you know why that exists?
To troll the lefties? How the fuck would I know? Why would you buy that?
Yes. Because everybody gets called racist when they're not. And that's why this became a thing. Everybody knows this means okay. And the people on 4chan specifically were like, you know what? They fucking call us racist for everything. You fucking have a valid criticism of Islam. Racist. Islam's not even a race. So you know what? What can we fucking fuck with the media with? They're saying everything's racist anyways. What can we sell them? Well, this means 2 genders. Okay, sell it, boys. This means 2 genders.
Okay,
this
white power. White power. You're not a racist. Good job.
And No, straight up, the media fucking bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
You've seen all the
sure
fucking
showed them.
articles
You
out
got them
there.
thinking you were racist. Well done.
Oh, well, it's like this, man. If they don't understand what that means, they're a little bit beyond my ability to help. Their brain's a little bit shot.
Fucking
I
media.
mean, yeah, straight up, man. Like, it's a pretty bad fucking state of affairs when the media is that not credible. When they can't fact check what this means, there's something fucking wrong. And when they're selling it to a million fucking people and they're stupid enough to think I'm the fucking Nazi, yeah, man, there's something fucking wrong. Fuck those idiots.
Okay, well, I think you're doing a bad job of convincing them with the Nazi battle flag thing, but that's all the same.
It's
That's
not a Nazi battle flag.
okay. It's an okay
It has
sign.
the same design. It has the same design, but
Oh, okay.
see that
Well,
Czech flag? That flag's got the same design too. But everybody knows what that means. You notice the 4chan leaves in the corner?
hi, friend. Say hi to your friend for me.
He says hi to you, Shannon. He says, hey.
Shannon's
He's a good dude. No, Shannon's a dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the old timer. You'll see if you look at my page on on fucking YouTube here. He's my jamming buddy.
Peace out, my dude.
Peace.
Fuck. Okay, well, we were talking about Trump. I don't know. Do you want to keep talking about Trump or what?
I love that the guy is a shit poster. I really do love it. I think that we've encountered an era in our history where political correctness has started to complete discourse in people. People are afraid to speak about anything just for fear that they might offend people. And it's actually doing a lot of damage in our society. And, you know, Trump might be an asshole, but I am so happy that he has set a standard in the world wherein
you can
become okay to question that.
Be a crusader against really stupid political correctness without being a fucking idiot. All right. Donald Trump he's more than a shit poster. He challenged his Secretary of State to an IQ contest on Twitter. Right. This is not the hallmark of a smart man. This is embarrassing.
That is a shit posting savage right there. That's fucking Troll King shit.
Do you not like this doesn't make us look good. It makes us look retarded.
I don't know if you know this, but most of the people who actually have a backbone, spine, and care about things like culture, care about America outside of America, are looking at America right now going, thank fuck, I wish we had somebody that actually cared about us. You know, I live in Canada.
Dude, Britain was debating on whether or not to ban Donald Trump. Most people aren't thinking that. Like, you can look up polls on this. Trump approval rating.
A lot of idiots there. Like I said, the mainstream establishment, they're going to feel that way. You think Trump gives a fuck how Britain in the politics, how the UK in politics feels about him? He didn't get voted in by that.
What you said earlier was wrong. You said most people looking out from the outside looking in say, damn it, I wish I had a Donald Trump in my country. Donald Trump's approval rating worldwide is low.
Why do you think there are yellow vest protests all across the world right now? Are you going to believe the politicians sitting there saying, we think Trump should be banned, just like the MSM here is? Are you going to believe the fucking thousands of people in goddamn near every Western country out there wearing yellow vest protesting?
Polling data taken from snapshots of what snapshots in time of what people think about certain issues, right? I think that's trustworthy. You phone random people through a phone bank, and you get their opinions on Donald Trump. And when you do that, you find they really dislike him worldwide. He's not a popular president worldwide.
I tend to disagree. Pretty well everybody that I come across.
What would I have to show you to prove you wrong? Like, you can see my screen, right? Trump international ratings remain low, especially among key allies. Like, that's not a good thing.
Oh, Pew is actually a reputable source. Can you send me that link in chat so that I can go through this article and actually everything in it?
Yeah, I'll do it right
now. I actually really do quite like Pew.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're one of my favorite sources. They're the ones that have done a lot of studies on female happiness declining since the 60s. The more liberal and more feminist we promote our society to be, in the end, most women are actually less happy year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's one of the things that I recall reading through there.
Well, I mean, what do you want to do about
it? Honestly, I think we should return some sanity to the discourse. I think people should be able to challenge feminist ideas without being called misogynist. I've been called misogynist so many times now that I actually outright sneer at it when I get called misogynist. I look at them and I say, that's misogynist. to you,
Do you
little
think
lady.
the way to make women happier is to challenge feminist ideas?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and what feminist ideas would you like to challenge, and how would that make women happier?
Well, see, feminists push a narrative. They push a worldview wherein they say that women are oppressed by men, that there exists this patriarchy, magical patriarchy. Doesn't exist, by the way. The queen will tell you that. Many queens will tell you that. But we exist in a meritocracy wherein people are allowed to make choices. Now, back in the day, everybody used to glorify the mother. And that's because, honest truth, being a mom, I know there's going to be women out there, especially that are going to hate hearing this. It is the single most biggest thing attuned to the female psyche that exists. Their natural psychology is based in connectivity. It's based in the mother-child peer bond. Male psychology is based in utility. That's why we compete for their affection,
Okay,
and why everything that we're supposed to do in society.
Like, you do this thing where you go on a long-winded kind of rant. Can you just tell me specifically what feminist argument do you want to deconstruct, and how does that help women? Specifically, what argument?
Deconstruct feminism in general.
Okay, what specifically
it's the whole
about
idea of it?
The whole idea of feminism in general. What does that mean?
Feminism is predicated on the notion that women are oppressed and systemically were oppressed in history. That's all false.
Really? They weren't allowed to vote like just 100 years ago.
And do you know how long before that men weren't allowed to vote, and what it took for men to get the vote?
I don't know, but the point is that not voting.
You should.
Hang on.
You should.
Okay, the point is that the ability to vote and the ability to be denied a vote is a form of oppression, right? Like if state is acting as a force against your right to voice a preference in an election, that is a form of oppression.
Where does the right come from?
From the social contract, where any right comes from, I guess.
Exactly. The social contract. That's how men got the vote. By fighting and dying in wars, we earned the right to cast a vote. Before men had the vote, there were women who could vote where men could not, because it was the landowners who held the vote. They also owned the people who lived on their land.
Oppressed and large.
Yes, we were. That's why I say the whole historic narrative is wrong. Women were held back by their biology. Men, it was literally men who created birth control.
In terms of voting, they were held back by the state, right?
No, in terms of voting, they were held back by the fact that they didn't go to war and die for the right to get the vote. Men had to remove that requirement for them so that they could have that right without the responsibility that's tied to that right that men were forced to pay.
America wins the Revolutionary War, right? It is now 1787, and we are a new country. Women are not given the right to vote. And they're not given the right to vote for 100 and some odd years afterwards, right? It's not predicated on just war, right? It's already established institutionally at this point.
The institution understood that the right to vote came from the draft. It was seen as self-evident, and there were trials held over it. Like, it's a legal understanding.
Okay. Can you just answer this yes or no? Would you be okay with taking away women's right to vote?
No.
Why
but
not?
I would be definitely for better educating.
Why not? It's not oppression.
About
Why?
Some of the things. And I would definitely be for more of them being just as upholdable to the draft as men, given a wartime situation. That being the case, I don't think they should be serving on the battlefield. I think there's special places in the military for women specifically because, bottom line, 99% of women are not as physically upper body strength as men. They're going to be less likely to be able to pull a soldier out of combat, and all of their fucking course requirements are always had to have been dropped down for standards in order for them to make the bar in. So physical duty, frontline duty, that's a man thing. You want supporting sniper roles? Women are great for that. Fucking pilots, women make great pilots. Their body is more attuned to it than a man's body because of the way their cardiovascular system is set up in order to protect a baby. The way their blood flows is actually optimized for the G-force.
I'm just curious. Like, okay, so you want all restraints on women's ability to serve taken down? Like, if a woman wants to serve in the military, should she be allowed to?
Role dependent.
What does that mean?
I don't think a skinny little chick should be allowed to be on the front lines, even if she wants to be, unless she can do what all the men can do and
Right.
pull the
She has
same
to
weight.
pass the qualifications. If she passes the qualifications, you're
Yes.
fine with her being on the battlefield, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe in watering down the standard. I believe, like I said, in agency and fucking proper moral responsibility in that sense. So that means being accountable to the standard.
Okay. Are there any rights for women that you'd want to roll back?
No, I would just want to, like I said before, amend the fact that men don't have any paternal choice by giving them the ability to opt out. I think that would return a bit of a balance to rights, because right now women have more rights than men because they have paternal choice and we don't in any fashion.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Shoot. What do you got?
I got nothing, man. I'm all good. I'm good.
Canadian cosplaying American. I see that. I see that. No, you see, I got one thing to say here on that. Not about Canadian cosplaying Americans. I fucking love America, and I'll tell you why. I live in Canada. I have a feminist cock prime minister, and I don't use that word often, but he's a piece of shit. And I don't own my right to free speech. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Wait,
I
you don't
exist
have
in
free
a
speech
country.
in Canada?
No, we have hate speech laws and things like that. That very literally means I don't have the right to express feelings that are offensive to other people.
Well, no, it doesn't. Hate speech laws
No,
in Canada.
nobody.
Wait, no, Canadian hate
Yeah,
speech
we have
laws
hate
are
speech laws.
prohibitions against advocating for genocide.
No, we have actual hate speech laws. You're not allowed to
I know.
misgender people if you have the right job.
You are. Where do you get that
And
from?
there's fucking law. Justin Trudeau has been passing a lot of fucked up shit. And even before that, we had hate speech laws. That means that my right to free speech and expression of my views is predicated on the government's allowing me to speak. Now, USA, it is very literally the only place on earth where the citizens own their right to speech, where the citizens own their right to protect themselves and various things like that. It is the true last bastion of freedom in the world. So I fucking love America. And you'll fucking find a lot of people in a lot of countries that will say this, and it's not cosplaying.
By the hate speech section in the federal code from Canada. Hate propaganda used in section yada 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 is defined to mean any writing, sign, or visible representation that advocates or promotes genocide, or the communication of which by any person would constitute an offense under section whatever. But advocating genocide is what it does, right? Like
an offense under section whatever. You should really take a look at what that section of whatever is, because people are being barred from speaking about Islam here. It's happening.
Okay,
people are being charged and sued for
reading it right now.
Speaking truth.
I'm reading it right now. Makes an offense to communicate statements in a public place which incite hatred against an identifiable group where it is likely to lead to a breach of the peace. Like these
hold up.
Specifically tailored to stopping people from being or promoting violence.
No, from speaking in a place that might cause it to happen. That's not not even advocating violence. That's them saying, here's an example, right? You can't go and say that it's wrong to fuck kids in front of a mosque. That's hate speech because the Muslims there might beat you for it. That's the fine print of that law.
What? Wait.
I
read the
Read it back.
Okay, section 319.1 makes it an offense to communicate statements in a public place which incite hatred against an identifiable group where it is likely to lead to a breach of peace.
Yes. So if you're going to say something where another person will take offense and beat you for it, it's against the law. Tell me how that's free speech.
Okay. Incite.
We don't own our right to free speech
against an identifiable group.
Yeah.
Okay. Where it's likely to lead to a breach of the peace. The identifiable groups are listed, right? It's usually it's race, sex, gender, religion, etc., etc., etc. Right?
Is it wrong for me to say it's wrong to fuck kids in front of a mosque? This is not a satire question.
As far as I know.
Okay, so under this law, if I go there and the Muslims get pissed off because another Canadian might hear me say that and be like, you know what? Fuck those people. I hate them. And the Muslim kicks my ass for it, I can be charged. That is very literally and exactly what that bill just said.
Okay.
So, no, our fucking free speech, we don't own it. The government does. We have conditional speech. Only America, very literally, only America is it's the only country I know of on earth.
Violence against you. It's talking about inciting violence against an identifiable group. For example, if you go in front of that mosque and you start talking about Jews,
that didn't say inciting violence. The words mean something. It said if it would incite hatred,
where it is likely to a breach of the peace.
Yes. Now, a breach of the peace, that could be as much as them fucking slapping you. That's violence. No, I'm being serious, man. Laws mean something. Smarten up with that. The fine print of law, it's there for a reason. Words are printed in a specific way for a specific reason. And very often, the people who pass these laws do not understand that the people who get to define the things that they put into these laws are very often the very people they don't want doing that.
I'm just curious.
Those are the people who challenge the laws.
Can you give me an example of some hate speech crimes that have occurred in Canada that makes you think you have no right to free speech there?
Okay, well, here's an interesting example of actually some of the hypocrisy in it. Is it a hate crime to say, for me, I'm a bad example because I have native blood in me too, but say I was a white guy and I went somewhere and I attacked an Indian and I was screaming, I fucking hate Indians, and I fucking beat on him. And I got caught and I went to court. Hate crime, right?
Sure.
Okay, I agree. Pretty well everybody in the country would agree. It's attacking an identifiable group with hatred and malice for the fact that they are an identifiable group.
Right.
Last year, here in Canada, Native woman fucking went up and attacked a white woman, screaming, I fucking hate whitey, fucking rah, rah, fucking knocked her tooth out, violent assault, and got a slap on the wrist, and it wasn't ever called a hate crime. Because, white person, it's an identifiable group, but I mean, it's not a minority, so why would we hold the same standard, hold everybody accountable, like we're all citizens? We don't do that. We don't fucking hold people to the same standard. And really, we don't even own our rights up here.
I know.
I think
Gestapo's taken over in Canada, I guess. It's the end of free speech as we know it.
A liberal Gestapo, somewhat. Very literally, yeah.
I know. Justin Trudeau is the worst, man. Anyway, I'm all out of fucks to give about any of these topics at this point. If you got anything else you want to here, you can have the last word. Say whatever you want, dude.
All right. I got no hate for anybody on the left, not even the people that I radically disagree with. I'm tired of seeing the divide, and I think everybody needs to learn to humanize and understand each other. The people who say that fucking the right wing cares about babies in the birth canal and not after because they want to see families, which is the reason why they're against the fucking support network stuff, because they want to motivate families to stay together. Those are two contradictory viewpoints that are both fucking allowed to exist, man. They care about kids. And really, if we stop dehumanizing them, we might be able to actually have a conversation with them, come to a proper understanding for the whole society. So everybody you see out there, you see them fucking, I know I'm guilty of it sometimes too. We all straw man. It's common on the left and the right. But when you see somebody dehumanize a person from the other side, fucking call it out. We need more of that. That's about all I got on it. I want to see the divide fixed.
I appreciate you stopping by. Good chat, I guess. Yeah, man.
I agree.
You have a good night.
I'm always around. Fucking, if you ever want to chatter around or just another fucking opinion, you got somebody that you think might stir the pot and you might want an interesting podcast or something with it, fucking don't be a stranger. I'm always around.
Anyway, peace out, my dude. We're going off air now. Peace out.
Peace.
All right, guys. I don't know. Do we want to talk about this, guys? White don't exist like black and native done. Wait. Do we want to talk about this, guys? Can I get some feedback in chat? Talk about it? He's still there. I don't want to be mean. I mean, it was very nice of him to come on the show. It was very gracious. You're a pretty friendly guy, all considered, but legit, no memeing, misguiding. and have some soul, man. I appreciate how you read the same message. Gillette did recently, but not for money. Okay. Camera coming on. You gotta be careful about your straw mans. Shouldn't give in to the gish. I straw man as well as he did. I didn't. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to. I might have, but he was kind of all over the place. Like, I might have straw man, yeah, but he was all over the place. It's a little bit hard to follow, and he wasn't short-winded either. Like when he went on a soliloquy whenever he was talking. It was, buddy. Meth, not even once. He wasn't that bad. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. He seems like a nice guy, but he also seems like never mind. Yeah, that's the Gish Gallop brings up new facts. Yeah, I really feel like every single, like, I don't know, we're talking about like Trump's tariffs and how they hurt American farmers, and then we kind of just took a weird left turn into the petrocurrency or something, and it's just, what the fuck? Like, go back. Like, important thing, keep your credibility. You have to. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I agree fundamentally. Aaron Johnson, it's a little difficult when they kind of go all over the place. I think if I knew this was going to go like this, I don't think I'd have invited him on. Like, I think I got a very different idea from what I was reading. I thought we were just going to talk about abortion and the ethics of it, but it wound up becoming fucking misogynist pretty fucking quick. Yeah, I mean, it just wound up boiling down to, well, women are sluts and they need to take responsibility for being sluts. And it's just like, damn, dude. Like, yeah, it's whatever. You're right. Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a misinformed guy. I think he's ignorant. And I feel like ignorance is the nicest word I can use. But buddy, that was a wildly different flavor from what we usually get on this goddamn show. Usually it's not this schizophrenic. He was walking down to C16. Is like, I did a debate about this. I did a debate with Irving Twin about this. I read so much shit on it. Take me there. I know what it is. I know he was almost at that C16 thing. Take one of his courses. You won't regret it. Personality and its transformation was, dude, no, this is the thing about fucking Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson takes a very long time, an exceptionally long time, to really say really stupidly simple concepts. And it was basically just be nice, be responsible, stuff like that, right? Fix yourself. Like, he takes a really long time to say some really basic, simple stuff. And it's hard to respect his intellect because there's nothing really insightful about it. He says really basic stuff. He just says it in a very flowery way. So I think a lot of people get swept up by his language. Yeah, dude, post your Discord. You don't need to hear a 9-hour lecture about Pinocchio. Yeah, well, that was actually more like a Little Mermaid, Hans Christian Andersen story. Like not the Disney novel, but like the character ends up getting warned about the actions she's taking, and it ends up detrimental for her. And it's kind of like this personal responsibility bit about yeah. I'd love to have a debate about it, and we'll get a hold of me, dude. My Twitter's always open. My DMs are always open. You can message me anytime you want. Like, it's cool. I'll talk with anyone. It's actually more about develop morality and personality metrics. I mean, dude. I mean, I don't know what to say about Jordan Peterson. My issue with him is he takes an exceptionally long time to say exceptionally simple stuff, and there's never really anything insightful in it. And you want to say it's more about how you become nice to people or responsible? Sure, I guess, but he's not really giving you any. I mean, clean your room, bucko. That's how you become responsible. It just, I don't know. Like, I earn $40,000 a month, and I'm poor. I don't have a lot of money. And it just feels like some people are in situations like where it doesn't matter how much responsibility you take for yourself, you're never going to get out of this sort of a kind of situation. But I don't want to say it. Jordan, whatever. You missed a lot, didn't you? Yeah, you missed a lot. I'm going to leave this stream up for a day, and then I'm going to unlist it. So you can watch back what you want to watch back, and don't watch back. I'm telling you, please don't watch this. This was pretty awful. And I don't hate you, Cam, but this was fucking awful. This was not the direction I was expecting it to go. I thought the conversation would be a little bit more mature, because he wound up saying stuff like, a problem we're having these days. I gotta find it. He wound up saying something to the effect of, a problem we have these days is a lot of people talk past each other and they don't seem to be interested in honest conversation or something like that. And I thought, like, oh, well, that's true. That's very true. And then he went on calling women sluts and whole bunch of other shit. And it was weird. Then he said, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to deconstruct like echo chamber narratives people develop. Excuse me. I don't know how to deconstruct echo chamber narratives people develop about how well, like, if you think Donald Trump is popular to the rest of the world, you're not living in the same reality that the rest of us are living in. And I don't know how to get that reality to you. Like, all I can do is show you Pew polling data and you can absorb it or reject it. But that's absolutely just, we're disagreeing about basic facts of the world, and that's not true. And it's a little bit like when he was, yeah, I probably should. It's a little bit like, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. Literal caricature of a Trumper. Yeah, that's the thing. When he was talking about like Donald Trump, and he was praising transparently stupid shit that most people wouldn't praise. And I don't understand how you can be a grown man, how you can be a Jordan Peterson fan who's all about bettering your life by being personally responsible and acting with integrity, and look at Donald Trump do shit like challenge his Secretary of State to an IQ contest on Twitter, or look at him do shit like lie about receiving a phone call from the Boy Scouts, praising his speech as the best speech they ever heard. I don't know how you listen to that kind of stuff and you don't detect this clash happening in your head, that you cannot simultaneously eschew values about personal responsibility and support a president who's under criminal investigation, who is an unindicted co-conspirator in a felony crime, right? You have these things and they clash, and he doesn't seem to understand they clash. And it's, yeah. Anyway, my guys, I'm going to peace out now. I don't normally stay, but this was an exceptionally weird one. And I was really going to duck out after like an hour, but I didn't feel justified in doing that. So I could just push a little further. You know that feeling? This was a chat, guys. Let me know if you guys think I should do more of these. If you ever want to contact me on Twitter. I'll happily, we can do this. Obama was as good a president, but the best I could say is America. No, he was a good president, dude. The very first thing Obama did was pass the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which created the very first thing he did as president was pass the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, but that's not it. Nobody likes the Fair Pay Act because we hate women. He passed the American Recovery Act, which created 2.5 million jobs. It was a phenomenal bill, right? That's a lot of fucking jobs at a time when the economy was plummeting, when unemployment rose to 10%, where banks were failing left and right, where some $2.5 trillion left our economy in a matter of months. That's a phenomenally good bill. If that alone should make him a good president, right? That's bending the curve on any possible fucking depression. It was a major economic crisis that wound up helping millions of Americans today. Millions of Americans owe their jobs today to Obama policies. Americans in automobile industries in particular, right? Because he bailed out General Motors, and he bailed out Chrysler, and he bailed out Dodge. right? And these industries came roaring back during the Obama years. They wound up becoming very successful. But at the time, they were in serious danger of bankruptcy. They were in serious danger of failure. And I don't think you understand how many jobs he's saved just by virtue of the bills he's passed, using TARP bailouts on the automobile industry, or the Recovery Act, or even Obamacare, which insured tens of millions of Americans. Unemployment rate used to be like 47 million at the time of Obamacare's passage. It dipped 10 plus million uninsured. Like, what is the uninsured rate today? It's got to be like 23 million or something. 10.3 million uninsured. Look at that. Okay, so this is a share by population, right? 18.2% of Americans were uninsured as of 2009. Obamacare Act passes, the Affordable Care Act passes, and that's just a sharp decline because Americans had access to healthcare that they didn't have before. They got plans that were subsidized, plans that were cheaper. They got Medicaid expanded to them that they otherwise wouldn't be eligible for. There were numerous successes in Obamacare that Republicans are continuously seeking to dismantle. I'm sorry, I stopped reading. You were talking about international politics. Okay. Highly flawed system. Yeah, well, I mean, our recovery was. Oh, I'm sorry. Same with Obamacare. Yeah, well, I mean, I want a single payer system, and I understand leftists who do want a single payer system, but Obamacare passed by the skin of its teeth. Like, the only reason Obamacare passed was because Arlen Specter switched parties to get it passed. Obamacare was in serious danger of never passing, and people don't realize that when Ted Kennedy died, that killed our majority in the Senate. Like, that ruined our chances. So we got really lucky on Obamacare, and a lot of lives have been improved because of it, which is why when Donald Trump tries to repeal Obamacare and replace it with nothing, it doesn't speak to his success as a president. It speaks to his failure, that he doesn't comprehend the damage this could do, not just to the economy, but to the lives of common Americans. And he doesn't have a plan for replacing it. He has no plan for people who depend on this kind of coverage. My country has 100% health insurance. Like I said, Obama was good as a U.S. president, but seriously lacking from an international perspective. Trump literally bent the knee. Dude, Trump bent the knee to the Saudis after they killed an American resident. Like, Khashoggi was an American resident, right? And people seem to think, well, he wasn't a citizen, so his rights to free speech don't matter. Let's cut the bullshit, right? Like, you want to talk about a president who eschews political correctness and says what's on his mind and defends virtues like free speech. Let's talk about Saudi fucking Arabia, where they killed James Khashoggi. Our president did nothing about that, and he intends to do nothing about that. He let a journalist die for gasoline? Like, that was his justification? Well, we get cheap gas? Fuck off, dude. All right, guys. This time I'm really going to dip out. Before I go, tell me, how you guys think this went? Was this good? Are you not entertained? Because I was a little bit embarrassed by this, to be blunt. And I have poor self-esteem, so please tell me you were entertained at least. You DM me on Twitter, dude? I don't have your message. You sure? Like, I don't have the message if you DM me. Can you DM me again? I don't agree 100%. I'm still fun. Well, I appreciate that. Went to walk in the cleric next day, got my head sun up. I showed up really late. Dude, everyone lies. Watch this from the beginning. And you will understand why I typed in chat earlier, kill me in the Discord. This is what I was talking. It's cringy, but you held up fine. Also better to argue politics and drama stuff. Yeah, I'm really tired of drama. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome, dude. Can't get a family to Yeah. I'm gonna fucking private this shit fucking fast, dude. Anyway, peace out. You guys have a good night. We're going offline. Bye.